So I was raised by a single mom. Uh, this was the norm in the community that I was growing up in because almost everybody didn't have a father. Well, the whole crew that I used to hang with never had fathers. So it was normal on the streets. It wasn't something that was unfamiliar, so to say. Until one day when my mother decided to change schools for me. So I left the school that I used to go to in the township and she took me to the school on a farm. Yeah, it wasn't negotiated. So one day I just woke up and then she told me we're going to look for uniform. And well, the uniform was khaki, so something told me that I'm not going back to the school that I used to go to because the uniform was blue there, unless they had miraculously just woken up and changed the uniform. So I then moved from the school and went to a school on the farm. And I get to the school on the farm. Now, mind you, I can't even speak English properly because where I come from, Nguni was the language, your African languages. That's what was spoken most of the time. So now I'm moving to a completely different environment and my confidence is a little bit low because from the moment I got into the transport, these kids are just fluent in English. And yeah, so my confidence was a little bit because I can't communicate with these children. And it took me some time to actually adjust and be able to speak to these kids. It was only then when I started to understand the language, so I became comfortable. But one of the things that was happening there is that, in as much as most of us came with transport to school, some kids were being dropped off by their fathers. And the conversation was there about fathers, about the presence of fathers, because the children would tell you, so me and my father on this weekend, we went and we did one, two, three. My father took me to McDonald's. So we went on a weekend away with my father. My father took me camping. These were the conversations that would normally happen. So you start to get an idea as a child that, wait, man, there is somebody who is missing, who is of the same gender as me, and this person is missing in my life. So I then approach my mother and I tell her that I would like to have a relationship with my father. And my mom then picks up the phone, calls him, and then he gives it to me. So I take the phone and I talk to him and we'd make arrangements. I talk about, I'm going to come and pick you up weekend. Don't worry. Saturday, be ready by 8 a.m. And in excitement. And I would tell my mother, he's going to come on Saturday. So we're just going to go out and then, we're going to go and have some fun. But he said I must pack my overnight bag and so forth. And Saturday would come and I would actually wake up as early as going to the school. So I'd wake up as normal as I would when I was going to school. And I would wait for him outside, excitement. And I would see my friends from the hood, and they would see me. Where are you going? And I would tell them, I'm going to see my father and so forth. And I was standing there, you're excited. And then the sun comes up, the day goes by, and nothing is happening. And then my mother would suggest we call him. So we pick up the phone, call him again. But now there's no answer. So this repetition kept happening throughout my childhood. And it kept happening to a point where I was actually like, no, I can't take this anymore. But the anger started building up inside because now this man that is supposed to come and show up is not showing up. So one day I was at a mall. It was me and my mom. And before we even get to that part, there was a time when I figured out where he lived. So I had a friend from school who actually lived in that direction. So I just went there unannounced and I knocked on the door. He opened. And you would think that the man would just let you in because, hey, this is my son. But in fact, he closed the door behind him, got me into his car, and then he drove me home. And he told me that I cannot just show up unannounced because he has a wife and so forth and stuff like that. And I left then. I got home, I was very disappointed. And I remember my mother tried to cheer me up because I was so disappointed on that day. Anyway, there was a time when we bumped into him then at the mall with my mom. And my mother told him about the fact that he's been creating disappointments and promises in my life. And at this point, he was with his wife. Now, I don't remember the gist of the conversation, right? But I do remember him saying to my mother, even if these kids grow up and they become street kids, I don't really care much. And that was it. I mean, that was the end for me. I was like, okay, I'm out. So yeah, from that moment on, I think I stopped bothering my mother about the man, and I started to appreciate the efforts that she was making. And even though it bothered me that this man, I mean, I'm his biological child, and growing up, I've actually met some of his biological children, and I noticed that there was a pattern because this man remarried, and he found a woman with children, and he became a stepfather, and he played this role of being a stepfather, and here are his biological children. Not even one of them have a story about him being present. Not even one have a story about him showing up at a school play, him showing up with groceries, and so forth and stuff like that. So yeah. But as you grow older, as I grow older, I started to appreciate the fact that my mother was present in all those moments. I mean, my mother was present at school prize givings, where I actually got prizes. I still have some of the prizes that I used to get from school that I showed to my nieces and nephews as a form of encouragement for them to work hard in school and focus as well. So yeah, my mother made sure that I had food. My mother made sure that I had a roof over my head. My mother made sure that I have shoes. And she taught me some of the things that I needed in life. She taught me some of the principles and the values that she could as a woman. But there were still values and principles that I needed to learn from a man. Because there's a way in which women approach things, and then there's a way in which men approach things. And over the years, I would learn, and then I would grow towards those things, and I would gravitate towards those things. Now, the reason I started this channel is because I love this discussion, or rather, I've noticed a lot of things that are happening around my nieces and nephews who are also growing up around the same situation. And I can see myself in some of them, and I can identify with them. And I know that some of us have actually gone on to experience some of these things in life, and we are still seeking healing from them. And some of us haven't found the healing, and some of us still need to know what needs to be done, how can it be done, why should it be done, and stuff like that. Because we grew up with absence, right? And absence led to anger, and not all of us actually turned out the same. I could make an example to say that some of the friends that I grew up with who did not have fathers, and I would maybe, without blaming the mothers, say that they were not getting the solid foundations that probably they needed. Some of them ended up in prison. Some of them are adults who are very angry at life, and some of them are repeating the mistakes of their fathers simply because they did not have that grounding that happened. And as you grow older, I mean, they don't see the point of being accountable for their actions as well, and their kids are going through the same challenges as well. So yeah, this is what life is about. We have to grow, we have to learn from the mistakes that happened in the past, and at some point we have to find ways of letting go. And some of us have a problem of letting go because we're still holding on to things. And it's not easy. I know it's not easy. I mean, it took me a while. Like I said in the first video that I posted here, that I've been working on myself for the past 2 years, And the more I do the work, the more I realize that some of the things that I've been carrying over the years are too heavy for me. Some of the things that I've been carrying over the years have actually prohibited me from making great relationships with some people, because these are the things that exist. And therefore, when somebody tells you that you need to work on this because this is not working for me, and then you get angry because you are not familiar with anything else outside this. So yeah, so basically this is the conversation for the day. Let me know your thoughts, man. Let me know how you feel. Let me know how it basically affected you growing up. Let me know the direction that you have taken as an adult to actually find healing, to actually be okay, to actually be fine and let go, and be able to actually coexist very well with other people, and to be good to yourself, to be great to yourself, to treat yourself better, to actually make sure that the things that happen to you as a child are not the things that you are passing on to your children. Children will have flaws, but let it be a matter of them having flaws that come from them and their personality, not to carry on the flaws that you had, So yeah, let me know what you think about this conversation, and let's keep the conversations going, man. Yeah.